George, I have to start with you first.
Sure.
What is it that you want? There's so much kind of humor to this film as well. Like
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
just a regular like straight up action. We got to kill. Oh my God, vengeance, blah 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 kind of stuff. So how did that story come along and your idea of how
Mhm.
you wanted to place the characters in their own real world?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the story came about, Luc Besson, who I've collaborated with on a few other scripts, called me a couple years ago and said, "Hey, I want to do a female transporter movie set in Asia. Let's figure it out." And so the genesis of it sort of started from there. But being able to work with someone like Luc Besson, who not only knows action, in and out, but is also interested in characters as well. It was great to sort of build that from the ground up. And then, yeah, I mean, honestly, my sensibility, I, and just like in life, I don't take anything too seriously. So, I'm always injecting, any like moments of humor where I can where I see the opportunities. And I think, with action films, with horror films, I mean, you want to sort of squeeze the audience, build attention, but you also want to give them relief, every now and then. And, just I think moments of humor really help us to sort of get us primus for the next, action scene, but really get us to care about the characters.
For sure. Sung, if I can ask you, your character, for someone who is so like, cutthroat and in charge, he also kind of like leaves himself out there for essentially a woman and things like that too. So how did you kind of find the balance in him and who he was?
Well, I give credit to George to be able to have that conversation, with the director and writer that was open to exploring a bad guy character with dimensions. It's like, most can't relate with, being a drug lord gangster, right? But hopefully most can relate with being madly in love with someone. And what would you do if that person was taken away from you? So, I think that's what made Quan, unique, right? And also relatable. You know, and also, for me as an actor, you need that anchor. You need that why behind, like, why is this guy the way he is? Why is he so pissed off? Why would he go out and try to, like, kill this other guy,
Mhm.
right? So I think love is that kind of that thing that people will lose their mind for, and definitely Quan has lost
Mhm.
his mind in this film.
Well, we are in October, so I kind of have a little theme question for everybody. And that's the question is, when you were young, what was one thing that scared you? You still kind of laugh about or think about when you were young, like a movie or a TV show, maybe? I got everything from Fraggle Rock to an episode of like Punky Brewster to like,
Mhm.
specifically like the 1 second Michael Myers first came out. Do you guys remember that moment you were scared the first time, or something you still kind of think about?
God. So I remember and I didn't think I was scared when I was watching, but the second Aliens film, so I'd watch it, and so unfortunately I snore very loudly, and the only way my roommate, could sort of like get to sleep was he would throw things at me while I was sleeping to shut me up. So the evening after I saw Aliens, I think, okay, that was intense, but okay, yeah. But then he threw something at me that night when I was snoring, and I screamed, because obviously, that, watching it had embedded something in me, and so just it was more the aftermath, the lingering effects of watching the movie, that still, traumatized me.
I remember when I watched Exorcist, the original
Mm,
Exorcist, as a kid. That was the scariest thing I've ever seen. And to this day, it's hard for me to ever like see that movie again
mhm.
because that gave me nightmares for years. And I was always worried that if I did, something bad as a kid, that I'd get possessed and my neck would start like spinning around. But I mean, I think that movie probably
Oh yeah.
still carries
Oh my
today,
God.
right?
Right.
It
Yep.
probably aged pretty well. I mean, that
Yep.
that is quintessential horror movie, but it's not the horror movies of today. It's not a slasher film.
Mhm.
There's some things like very psychological, and I think mixing religion, right, and growing up in a religious family,
Yeah.
that film really made an impact on me.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I have to ask George, it's been 30 years since Swimming with Sharks, outside of like the cast or whatever else. What do you remember about that project, that movie for you?
Mhm.
Because I remember it very vividly. I remember getting on
Right.
VHS So I mean, like, you know,
Uh-huh.
so what do you remember about that project? You know?
God, well, I mean, it was the first movie I'd ever made. So just trying to survive, trying to get through the day and get everything you need. It was just like, you know, it sort of reminded me, and even just just applying gratitude when you get these opportunities to make a movie because it is such a hard task to get any movie made these days. And I really do think it's a minor miracle when any movie gets produced. So just seeing seeing any movie today, I sort of, regardless of the quality of it, you just want to give it sort of the benefit of the doubt. It's like, a lot of people had to work really, really hard, just to get, that stuff on the screen that you're seeing. And so, yeah, so that experience is something I definitely take away from that, having been, in the trenches, just trying to create something. It's just like, whew, it is hard work.
Very cool. Well, I think it made way for a lot of other films along those lines too. So I thank you very much. Hope everyone in your world is happy and healthy, and we'll make sure to talk about this with everybody.